Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex and I would greatly appreciate it if you want to support me or support the channel if you would consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Today we are going to talk about the Never Ever Mets Season 2, Episode 2. And if you're not watching this season, I highly recommend it. It is definitely a lot better than Season 1. As I said, Season 1, I know I kind of bounced and I just kind of kept up through other people's recaps and interviews, but this season so far at least is watchable to me. The couples do seem more real. Now, I do still think there is some own trickery going on, but overall it is much more watchable. And if you have not seen my episode 1 recap, definitely exit out of this video, go watch that one first, and then come back here. Now, I have seen y'all's requests for Pop the Balloon, Netflix. Y'all have reached out to me on IG. Y'all have commented on completely unrelated videos about Pop the Balloon Netflix. I watched it. I took notes. I am not going to be uploading because, to be honest, all the girlies you know and love, I watch them as well, and all of their sentiments, I've echoed the same thing. I'm going to still continue to give the show a chance, and if it is a little bit better, I maybe will recap it, but this was just honestly borderline, not even borderline unbearable. It was unbearable to watch. It was overstimulating. I think it was ill-matched. It was a mess. So for me, I'm not going to be recapping that. Just wanted to address that here. However, I am going to also be recapping Somebody's Son that is also on OWN. That started last night on Saturday, and I should have the video up sometime tomorrow, most likely. So look out for that. Now, without further ado, let's jump into this episode. So we began on the cliffhanger of Charlie and Jared.
Why didn't you say anything?
I had my own going on.
What?
I just had a kid too, dude.
What? 4 years, I never thought, I mean, he could say the same about me, but after 4 years, I'm thinking, like, I know him. I'm supposed to know, like, you had a baby.
I can't be upset.
Remember, Charlie just admitted that she doesn't have one kid, but she has 4 kids, which is insane. And Jared had his little cliffhanger of whatever it was. Now, as expected, Jared does admit that he also has a child, a 6-month-old. And this is where I thought the own trickery was starting, because I believe their relationship potentially is real. But I was like, hold up. I feel like they both know this, or maybe this was even an open relationship between the two of them, because there is no way that y'all both have kids under the age of 1. At this point, Charlie is talking about in the confessional that she did not expect that it was going to be like this with Jared. She thought she knew him, but Jared is relieved because he knows that she can't be mad. He's real happy that she went first with her secret, because that way there's no grounds for her to be upset. Now, Charlie is so relieved, talking about, gosh, I've been breastfeeding. I've been going to the room to give milk to the baby. I was wondering how that was working, by the way. Are they shipping the milk off? Is the baby there somewhere in like a nearby hotel? What is going on with that whole process? But Jared is a little bit questioning of the logistics, because it would be 6 kids in the house from their other relationships, and they don't even have a kid of their own. And I'm like, baby, do you have full custody, Jared? It's not going to be 6 kids all the time, but I get where he's going with it. I definitely agree that logistically, this is a hot mess. For Charlie, she just really wants Jared to promise that he's not going to give up on her. She does really want this to work. I feel like Charlie is definitely more in La La Land, whereas Jared is a little more like, I'm not really sure how this is going to work, because Jared also has another kid. So, ciao. Like I said, own trickery. Own, are you tricking us? Is it real? I don't know, but I'm not surprised that Jared has a kid. Back in the house, Alicia and Irvin, they are cuddling in the girls' room bed.
Let's put this in perspective, though.
This is a new thing for me. Like, honestly, like dating and getting to this place in life.
I was diagnosed with the autoimmune condition
Dermatomyositis in March of 2022. I had a decision.
Now, Irvin, you definitely could tell he wants to get a little bit closer to Alicia. He wants to at least feel her, have a little bit of a peck on the cheek. But Alicia is very, very reserved. Now, she admits that she was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. Let me read the name for her. Dermomyositis, I believe is the name of it. It is essentially marked by skin rashes that are caused by certain diets and certain foods. So anyways, because of this autoimmune condition, she talks a lot about how she's very much into health and wellness and she wants to listen to what her body wants. And because of that right now, cuddling with what's his name? Irvin is not on the agenda. That's not going to work out because with her autoimmune condition, she needs to make sure she is at peace. Now, Irvin, he's accepting of it. Irvin respects her boundaries and he gets that she may have these holdups and these hangups and these reasons why she doesn't want to get closer. But for him, he was at least expecting a kiss on the cheek. And he's starting to get the feeling that he is a lot more into her than she is into him. Now, remember, on their first date, we could definitely see that Alicia was not very comfortable with the compa class. But by the end, she did say she liked the feeling of being in his arms. I don't know, but you could definitely tell that there is something not clicking for Alicia. And I absolutely cannot stand when people try to use external problems to cover up their real feelings. Girl, I get it. I get having an autoimmune condition. I have health problems myself. So I definitely understand that and wanting to stay at peace and wanting to make sure that you're good. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying that the couples have to be all cuddled up on each other or anything like that. I'm not saying you need to be going all the way, doing the boom boom. But at this point, you would think that after the initial walls have come down, you're at least putting a hand on the lap or, as I said, a cuddle, a peck on the cheek. I think you could take it a little further. So we definitely get the vibe that Alicia is getting a little bit iffy there. So the next morning, Charlie and Jared, they are talking, and basically Charlie wants to tell the rest of the house about their kids, about their secret. For Charlie, she says it's really, really hard not to talk about her kids. And I found that to be interesting because I'm like, again, own trickery, because how is it very hard for you not to talk about your kids to these random strangers, but you could hide your kids for 4 years with Jared? Make it make sense, Charlie, because that don't make sense. Now, Jared, he really did not want to talk about it. It wasn't his ideal plan, but he does say overall he doesn't really care. We can go ahead and reveal it to the house later on, and we will see them reveal it later at dinner. So everybody goes outside, and our host, Taronda, she shows up.
So we ready for our first activity?
Yeah.
You said no.
Let's get it.
So I'm gonna send you guys inside. You're gonna change into your bathing suits.
And she lets them know that the intimacy suite, words. The intimacy suite is open and now they can go in there if they need to. You can get away from all the couples. You can do whatever you want in there. You don't have to go all the way, but ultimately it's just a place where you can have some one-on-one time. She also reveals that one of the couples every single night is going to cook in order to show the dynamic between them, how they can work together, and just how do you function when it comes to doing a task combined. And I actually thought this was a very interesting and unique idea. And I was like, okay, never ever met. Come on now, bringing on some interesting dynamics. Because I think absolutely, I have been in relationships that did not work where, hey, we would try to do simple things like cooking and we could not even make a consensus. So I was totally okay with that. Now, Taronda tells them, hey, y'all got to change into some bathing suits and get your booties out here because we are going to have an activity here today. A lot of the women, they are not super duper comfortable with having their men already see their bodies. Brittany, she feels really insecure because after she had her son, she just doesn't feel as confident about herself. And I'm looking at all these women and I'm like, y'all look beautiful. Y'all look great. Y'all have normal bodies. This is the crazy part, is that we're so used to watching these reality television shows where I feel like they purposely, especially Netflix. Netflix is a red flag contender of this, where they pick these perfect looking people. But at the end of the day, y'all just have regular bodies. Brittany is insecure. Kiki was a little bit insecure because she has a fear of intimacy, even though Brandon can't get enough of her. Alicia is also starting to talk about how the stress of all of this is going to get to her. She's not really sure how it's all going to go, but they eventually have to get outside and they find out that the activity is body painting. Basically, one partner is going to be blindfolded and the other partner has to ask for consent. Hey, can I paint here? Can I paint here? Can I paint here? And they bring in this intimacy coach who says, look, asking for that consent to paint different areas, that can turn intimate. Baby, we already start to see some cracks in these couples. Chris and Alexis, they are struggling.
Ask me anything. She has this attitude like, I'm going to do things the way I want to do things.
It's all about being connected.
Here, when he turned around to see if I was looking, it was like crack.
That's so bad. Don't do me like that.
You should be right.
For Chris, he is starting to notice that Alexis is very forthcoming. She's not really asking for permission to do things. She's just going her own way. She actually takes her hands and puts her hands on his and puts his handprints there as his property. She also puts her hand on his pickle, puts a little handprint. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I did not give you permission to grope me in that way. So for Chris, he's definitely starting to get a little bit turned off at how Alexis is acting. And I definitely think that Alexis, a little bit of a rough and tumble personality as well. Now, to add on to the Chris and what is his name? Alexis situation. They flash back to a story where basically Alexis saw an ex looking at a woman's and because of that, when he turned around, she socked the man right in the face. And I'm like, hold up. So again, Alexis definitely, according to Chris at least, and according to what we saw, she has a little bit of a rough streak and Chris is just not really feeling that. You can definitely tell he's feeling like he's not wearing the pants in the relationship. We'll have to see. I don't know. I've never really found the I'ma beat anyone's ass type, to be appealing. I don't really find that appealing. I think as a woman, you can be strong in who you are without being aggressive. But again, I think we also need to be careful with calling a Black woman aggressive, and we need to watch the language that we use. However, some of the things that were shown definitely do come off a bit aggressive. So let's just say we go over everybody else's body paint.
Because he's growing, always challenging himself to be better.
And was it consensual? Did she ask permission all along the way?
She did, but she didn't have to.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Now, Charlie has Jared's name tattooed on her. I thought that was crazy. So she put her name on him because she already has a tattoo of his name. And I'm like, hold up. So y'all have been together and you have his name tattooed and you have never done that before? You've never seen each other before and you have the names tattooed. Okay, whatever. Now they all go through each other's art. Alicia is talking about how she feels very, very reserved.
He's going through a certain journey.
Wait. That means you don't have consent to share whatever you're about to say.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, for her, it is very hard for Irvin to even touch her bag. She's like, don't touch my rolls, don't do this. And once again, we get a confession of her talking about, because of my autoimmune condition, I really can't. And I'm like, girl, here we go again. There's nothing that drives me nuts more on these shows than when someone is just not attracted to the other person and they start this whole entire rigmarole. And Irvin is definitely also clocking the BS. At this point, Irvin is like, okay, I can't touch your back because your autoimmune condition. And that's my whole thing, Alicia. If your autoimmune condition is so serious that you can't be touched and it's hard for you and you have these walls up, baby, maybe this is not it. But again, there's also a part of me that is wondering if maybe the physical is lacking, maybe the height is lacking, maybe something else is lacking where she's just not feeling him. Now, Chris paints a stop sign on Alexis's back because he is like, look, I really don't like how argumentative she is. I really don't like how aggressive. I don't think he uses the word aggressive. I keep saying aggressive, but forward. He doesn't like how forward she is, so he wants to put a stop to that stuff. And again, these two, you could definitely tell that there's starting to be some friction. There's definitely starting to be some tension because of the strong personalities of both of them. Now, Irvin puts wings on Alicia's back and he's starting to talk about why he put the wings there. And Tarana's like, or the intimacy coach, one of them is like, wait, Because Alicia makes this face where you could clearly tell that she's not interested in sharing. So Irvin's like, okay, I mean, she got something going on. And I feel like she's very strong working through it. And child, just don't know. Alicia's attitude and personality for me is definitely starting to become off-putting because, again, I absolutely understand this whole thing, but at the same time, girl, why did you come here if you were not interested in trying the process? And yes, I know there are some people that are slow burners. We get the occasional slow burner on these shows that actually does end up being a slow burner, but I feel like it is rarer, more than common, that we actually have true slow burns on these shows. Back at home, the couple that's cooking is Brittany and Ty. I believe they're making chicken, green beans, and just a typical meal, right?
Love. I cook with love.
Tonight, me and Britt are supposed to cook for everyone.
The veggies,
By
just do oil versus butter.
Okay, yeah.
Just
So
don't kill it with oil though.
Are you cooking, darling, or are we cooking?
Okay.
So Alicia comes all up into the kitchen like, do you guys have vegan butter? Oh my God, I can't eat oil. Ty starts to get a little bit upset, talk about this ain't my woman. I don't need to cook for you. When it's your turn to cook, you can cook that way. You can't come into the kitchen demanding things. Now, Alicia gets a little bit upset herself and it's like, oh my God, why are you getting so aggressive with me? Oh my God, you're yelling me out of the kitchen. I'm gonna be honest in this situation. I see both sides. Now, in my personal opinion, I think the way Alicia came in was kind of crazy, where she was like, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? I can't eat this. I think a lot of people get triggered and feel upset, especially when it comes to people who eat these vegan diets or eat these specialized health food diets, because I think sometimes those kind of people can be very pretentious and can be very rude when it comes to food. And I also think you have another couple that's cooking for you. Now, I do think Alicia could have came in and said, hey, I have a condition. However, that's the other thing too, actually, that she doesn't want to reveal the condition she has. She doesn't want to share with the house. And I'm not saying you have to. You could keep your health to yourself. But if you want people to cook specially for you due to your condition that, remember, no one in the house knows about except your man, then I'm sorry, you're going to have to be a little bit transparent and at least say, I have a health condition where I can't eat certain foods, or I have a health condition where certain things are not going to be healthy for me. Otherwise, I understand. Now, did Ty get a little bit loud? Yes, I think he was raising his voice a little and he was getting a little bit loud. But I do think that Alicia coming in was very kind of arrogant and very pretentious, especially without being willing to give an explanation to other people. In my personal opinion. So Alicia goes off to tell Irvin, her man, and Cinco what happened. Now, Cinco in the confessional is like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like Alicia was probably the aggressor here. And I was like, have you seen the personality before on camera or something? Because why are you automatically saying your woman is the aggressor? He talks about how she doesn't always have the most consideration for others. Her tone is not always the most pleasant. And overall, he could definitely understand how basically somebody else could get a little bit irritated. I definitely think Alicia is not only rubbing her man Irvin wrong, but she is definitely rubbing the rest of the house wrong. And again, I'm gonna be honest. Alicia does seem to have a bit of a standoffish personality. I get being shy. I get having your autoimmune condition. I get all of these different things. But at the same time, there are ways to approach people and be more friendly. But again, maybe we will see that wall come down. I don't know. I feel like Alicia's not having a good time here. She's upset. She's salty. I don't know. So Alexis and Chris, they also sits down on the couch, and Alexis starts to talk about how she feels very, very disconnected from Chris. Now, Chris is very confused because he claims that during the activity, Alexis said that she was getting turned on. She really liked the things he was doing, how he was touching her. But Alexis is like, hold up. No. I did not say that. I was actually telling you to get slower. I said, yes, the act of touching turns me on, but I did not say what you were doing was turning me on. So for Chris, he is definitely a little bit confused. Again, these two are having so much friction because Alexis is so forthcoming and Chris is like, well, I don't want to feel like I'm just sitting here being bossed around. And he even talks about how in his confessional, he needs to show Alexis what he's working with. Otherwise, Alexis is going to treat him like a little boy. And I'm like, not this being the case. You don't like a strong woman I guess. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think that Alexis is not respecting his boundaries. I think that they talk about Alexis being Jamaican, and that's part of, girl, I am Grenadian. I'm from the Caribbean. I respect my man's boundaries. I respect other people's boundaries. I'm so tired of this. Well, I come from here, and because of this, yes, me too. Me too. And I still can figure out how to respect the boundaries of others. So I kind of see where Chris is coming from with things, because I do think Alexis, again, is being very rigid, and she's not really open to talking or hearing what's going on. So to me, that's definitely a bit of a red flag. And we know Irvin and Alicia haven't been doing well. Irvin goes upstairs to grab a sweater, and he hears Alicia and Brandon in the room doing yoga.
Stairs to go grab something. Brandon and Alicia, they were like doing yoga.
What's the matter? You upset? Overserve somebody or whatever you're saying. I'm trying to apologize.
It's okay. Relax.
So he confronts her, talking about you refused to do yoga with me yesterday, but all of a sudden you want to do yoga with Brandon. And I'm like, woo, skirt. And I believe they flash back as well and show that she had literally said no to doing yoga with him. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about on these shows. You know, Alicia makes a bunch of excuses, talking about she's not trying to do that. She doesn't understand why he's not feeling it. And I'm like, girl, you're not feeling it. You don't want this man to touch you. You don't want him to be near you. You're claiming that, oh, your autoimmune disorder is the reason why. And now you're overdoing yoga with another man. Be honest. This couple probably is not making it to the end, because clearly she's not feeling it. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is, because we don't get a lot from Alicia, but she is clearly not feeling it. So on to the group dinner. You know, everybody's eating. I wanted an update on if Alicia could eat the oil and stuff, baby, because you had all that to say. So I wanted an update on if she could eat that joint or not. But we see everybody eating. We see Charlie shoot Jared a look, and Jared's like, dang. Jared in the confessional is like, I wasn't gonna say anything about the kids thing. I know that Charlie really, really wants to reveal it to everybody. I wasn't going to say nothing, but I saw her give me that look, so now I got to. So they get up in front of the room and they announce that Charlie has 4 kids and a newborn, and that Jared has a 6-month-old and another kid. And of course, the whole house is talking. Clavassier and Tatiana, they actually go to the intimacy suite and they start to talk about it as well. And then Clavassier lets us know in the confessional that he has a newborn.
Do you hear me like this whole stuff in?
It really depends on the case. I have a newborn child that she does not know about.
And I was like, I know you lying. I know you are lying that every single man on this show has a newborn baby. So Clavassier now has to tell this secret to Tatiana. And remember, Kiki also has a secret that she's living with her ex and has not told that to Brandon yet. And I'm like, baby, are all of y'all a mess? I don't know. I don't think Tatiana is going to be accepting. I mean, she has a son. This is the problem. I think, and you know, I was watching with my husband and I 100% agree. I believe that a lot of these people, let's say men and women, because all of them have secrets, they are waiting until the relationship is built up enough to tell the secret, where it's going to be harder for them to leave because they're more connected. Otherwise, you should have been telling these secrets immediately, because what is going on? And I think Tatiana might be open to it because I believe she has a son or a kid. I don't remember if it's a son or a daughter. Child, I feel like Brandon will crash out though about Kiki living with her ex. So Chris and Jared go on to have a talk because Chris is really, really struggling when it comes to Alexis. He's like, was I in the wrong about everything? You saw how that all went, right? I'm just a little bit confused. Now, Chris gets into how he had 9 step-parents combined. So for him, the thought of being controlled is really hard because his stepdad and all of these different people would try to control him over the course of his life. Jared reminds him, look, didn't you also say, though, that Alexis is Jamaican? So she comes from this strong Jamaican background. I was like, He's like, look, you were a little petty painting a stop sign on her back, but why don't you try to actually continue to get to know each other, get past those rough hurdles, and see how things feel? So ultimately, Jared is encouraging him to still give it a try, and I do agree. Now, I know this is another maybe own trickery couple. I know you guys said that Chris was on Ready to Love. I didn't see that season, but I don't know. I think give it another little chance, at least give it a couple more days. And if that rigidness doesn't come down, then yes, I do think sometimes personalities are just incompatible. I think sometimes two personalities rub together and it does not work out, and that's okay. But I would just see how it goes and have a conversation with her. Try to really sit down away from all the other couples, because y'all only talked in front of everyone else. Try to have a conversation. Maybe go to the intimacy suite or something and just have a conversation with her about how you feel. Now we end off with Alicia and Irvin. Irvin pops into the girl's bedroom and he's like, look, I'm not feeling you right now.
That was insulting to me. I was so insulted. It's the fact that you have a way of flipping things and making it seem, put it on me when you did something wrong.
I can literally...
Bro, like, come on.
I feel unsafe with your demeanor at the moment because you're still upset.
No, I know.
All right, I'm not feeling you right now. I asked you to do yoga. You didn't want to do it. I tried to do this with you. You don't want to do it. You don't want to kiss. You don't want to touch. You don't want to hug. Da 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 da. Alicia, at this point, she starts to get upset and she's like, I feel unsafe. I feel unsafe. Mind you, Irvin, he was raising his voice. He was definitely raising his voice, but he was not being aggressive. He was not being aggressive. He did not put his hands on her. He did not lunge at her. Yes, I get it. A man raising his voice is very, very scary. And as a person who has been in a relationship like that, where yes, that man raising his voice evolved into other things, I can definitely understand where Alicia is coming from. However, I feel like at the same time, Alicia has been checked out. And I think that checking out and being checked out in that way is frustrating for people. I think it's very hard. And I can understand Irvin feeling like he's crashing out, seeing her do yoga with another man, saying he doesn't want to. He's trying to make little moves and she's very clearly not interested. And I think she's also not being upfront. On top of that, I think most people get very frustrated when you try to blame external factors for your simple lack of attraction. It would make me crash out if I was with somebody who was blaming their autoimmune disorder on the fact that they're not interested. But at this point, Irvin is like, all right, well, I'm not trying to make you feel unsafe, so I'm gonna leave. Alicia says, no, come back. I'm a hold up, Alicia now. You can't ask the man to come back, but you said you feel unsafe. Stop it. Alicia's doing a little bit much for me in this episode. Irvin's like, no. Honestly, if you feel unsafe, I'm not about to sit here and make you feel unsafe. So I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna step away. I'm not really feeling it. But you could definitely tell that the cracks are forming. As I said, this couple, I do not think is gonna make it to the end. I'll be surprised if they even make it another episode or two because it's just not there for Alicia. It's just not there. The spark is not there. And I think Irvin, he already clocked it that he is feeling her more than she is feeling him. But that is essentially where we end the episode. So if you made it to this point of the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate it if you would support the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will talk to you guys in the next one.